Partida desta corrida principal da pole position, muito importante a consideração na partida. Espero que toda a vossa força me vá ajudar a ter um bom arranque. Estamos aqui a preparar tudo da melhor forma, a aquecer o carro todo. Obrigado a todos. Até logo.
Very impressive doing that while translating it in two languages and driving around Disega without hitting anything, I think.
Yeah, he translates Portuguese very well. Well, Tiago is one of those infuriating people who's obviously got a knack for languages because he speaks French fluently, he speaks Italian fluently, obviously Portuguese and English. I'm not sure how many others he speaks as well, but he can drop in and out of languages with fellow drivers very easily indeed. Now, Ivan Muller starts on the outside of the front row of the grid.
Rondin perd de l'essence. Dans chaque virage droit, je dégage de l'essence.
The only word I picked out of that was clean and repeatable was fuel. In fact, literally, petrol. So, I don't exactly know what the issue might be. We've not had any indications of under bonnet temperatures getting too hot on the grid to cause fuel vaporization, but has Ivan got an issue? And if he has, oh my lord, watch out at the start. This would be exactly what Tiago needs, is a slower Ivan Muller holding everybody up.
Not what the rest of the grid needs, though, if you can't get going.
No, absolutely not. Well, we'll wait and see what the start brings. Tense times in the Montero garage. Friends and family, the rest of the team watching on as Tiago, the local driver here at Villarreal in Portugal, brings his Castrol Honda to pole position. He is the DHL pole sitter for the main race here, 14 laps of this 4.8 kilometre ultra high-speed street circuit. Ivan Muller's Citroën C-Elysée starts alongside him, but Tiago has rear gunners. Norman Michelitz, Rob Huff, his teammates in the factory Honda team, start third and fourth, and there's no question they will attack Muller as and when the opportunity arises. But they in turn have Jose Maria Lopez, the world champion, behind them. Then Ted Björk, Mehdi Benani, Tom Chilton, Nicky Katzberg, and our race one winner Tom Coronel round out the top 10. Behind them, you'll see Robert Dahlgren's Volvo, then James Thompson's black Chevrolet, then the Lada of Hugo Valente. But all eyes in Portugal, in Villarreal, and a whole host of other places. We're watching the start here. Tiago Monteiro, the DHL pole sitter, must get away cleanly, as Tom Coronel did from pole in race one, if he is to win this main race here in Portugal and claim his third victory in a Portuguese race in the World Touring Car Championship. Gap on the grid for Ferenc Fichter. If you look on the extreme left of your shots, you can see his car in the pit lane, ready to start. Here we go then, 5-second board has been shown. Red lights are on. Tiago Monteiro closest to us. A good start from him. Decent start from Ivan Muller as well. Will Norbert Michelitz get an overlap? He will not. He gets in front of Rob Huff. Both the Ladas get away very well indeed. Nicky Katzberg around the outside of Mehdi Benani. And Norbert Nagy there at the back of the grid, and Ferenc Fichter will now be released. So it is Muller in second, Monteiro in first, then Michelitz, then Huff in front of us as we ride with Jose Maria Lopez. And Muller will be wanting to make sure he doesn't give anything away. Hugo Valente trying to go around the outside of Benani and Chilton, and he managed just to wriggle his way in there. I think there might have been a fractional rub against the barriers. And then Coronel and Thompson behind, Robert Dahlgren, and a slow Gabriele Tarquini in trouble. Tarquini got passed by who there? By John Philippi got by him. Katzberg up 2 off the grid. Great start from the man who was on the podium in race 1. He's had a second, a first and a third in the last 3 World Touring Car races. But it's Tiago Monteiro that leads, and Harry did all that he needed to do at the start. Now he's just got to stay in front for 14 easy laps.
Yeah, exactly. And Muller will be giving him pressure. And, yeah, it was a great start. He got away dead cleanly and did exactly what he had to do, which is what we said before the start. He knew exactly what he was doing.
And maybe that stall away from the dummy grid in the first race really helped him. Okay, no, I need more revs than I thought I did. More revs than worked with the practice start. And so then he's been able to gauge that. There wasn't excessive wheel spin. he really launched the car superbly. With Ted Bjerg, pressure on Jose Maria Lopez, the world champion in the Citroën, really having to fight the Citroën all the way through free practice and qualifying. The car was up on its toes, and he was dragging it along by sheer will to go quicker than it wanted to, wasn't he? It was
all over the place, big, massive sideways. It looked like a drift car at times, didn't it?
Yeah, really did. Montero, Muller, Michelitz, Huff. That's your top four. Then Lopez and Bjerg. The blue Lada and the blue Volvo ahead of the Lada of Nicky Katzberg. Mehdi Benani down one. So Katzberg got in front of Benani in the championship standings with race one's result and has now passed him again. So he's trying to open up that margin over Mehdi Benani in second place in the championship.
And I'm sure that won't be missed on Mehdi either. He'll be getting that through the team radio. He'll know exactly the significance of that.
I don't know what Muller's problem is, but Lopez's problem is called Ted.
Yeah, he's all over the back of him, isn't he?
Yeah. Now, maybe Lopez and the engineers have gone for a slightly lower tyre pressure at the beginning of the race. Maybe they thought that they were running too high a tyre pressure at the end of the first race and have now dropped it a fraction for the second. It's going to take another lap or so to really get the benefit from it. Maybe they've made a change in setup slightly in the car that's not working in his advantage early in the race.
It certainly looks like he's struggling for this early on pace, but I'd be surprised if it was on tyre pressure, because we saw everyone coming pretty strong and pretty fast towards the end of the opening race, so there would be no real reason to mess with that, because obviously the degradation wasn't so bad.
Everybody ramping it over the curbs there in the background at turn 6. And now really motoring on here. We saw top speeds of over 460 kilometers an hour. Problem for Robert Dahlgren.
Dahlgren's engine overheated here.
Overheating engine. Now that is more than it's quite hot out issue. That's something fairly major. It's blown a hose or something then, maybe.
Yeah, maybe something gone through the radiator, because there is quite a lot of rubbish around the circuit with all these people around.
Yeah. Well, luckily they appear to have refrained from throwing chicken bones on the racecourse, so everything going well. Not much debris, no plastic bags. We used to get quite a lot of that in Porto, because the wind coming up from the seafront, from the beach just down from the bottom of the circuit, used to really change direction quite noticeably around lunchtime, and then lots of debris would be blown on the track. Not an issue here. Quite a long way from the sea here, and the river doesn't have that cooling effect. Everybody watching with bated breath. Part of the job is done. But I was rather facetiously saying all he's got to do is stay in front for 14 easy laps. It's going to be anything but easy for Thiago Montero. He's going to have to work very hard for this, because Ivar Muller will not let him get away. Fastest lap of the race so far by Rob Huff. Huff lies in 4th place, in the 3rd of the Hondas in the top 4. Ivar Muller, oh, Ted Bjerg has dropped right back off the back of Jose Maria Lopez, and suddenly Nicky Katzberg's trying to get by.
It looked like he had trouble getting traction off that corner there, didn't he?
Now then, we've just seen his teammate retire with an overheating engine. Is there something fundamental that's gone wrong with both cars in the opening couple of laps of the race? 2 laps down, we're on lap 3 of 14 here. Maybe they can have a look back in the EVS and see exactly what happened leading up to that, but he dropped a very long way back. Did he have a lunge that we didn't see on Lopez? Lopez fastest of all in the first sector on this lap. Huff quickest around the circuit last time round. They are lying 4th and 5th, and a long way back to Ted Bjerg. Well, Bjerg's got speed now. Drive through for a jump start for Tom Coronel. Or full start doesn't necessarily mean jump. He could just not have been in his grid box position correctly. Hugo Valente is giving Mehdi Benani a tough time. The Citroëns are struggling a bit here, all of them, aren't they, apart from Ivan?
Yeah, it's strange, because they've been very quick over a single lap. We saw that through qualifying and free practice, but not quite a match for the Honda. But yeah, over race distance, they seem to be struggling this weekend. Well,
we didn't see Coronel twitch. He made a good start, but yeah, there he goes. He was moving. I think... Now, that may well be clutch slip. That certainly was not intending to jump the start. Not a great getaway from Robert Dahlgren, was it? He was swamped, and then Valente, very aggressive around Coronel on the outside. There was contact with Katzberg and Benani. Little bit of a rub. Here we go. Just enough, but then Benani was trying to make sure Nicky Katzberg didn't have enough. Watch Coronel right in the centre of your picture. Red lights are on, and he moves.
Yeah.
And he knows he's going to be hung, so he may as well be hung for sheep as for a lamb, and away he goes.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing. It's an easy mistake to make, but it just, yeah, there's no denying it. He basically went when the lights were red.
Yeah. Little bit of clutch creep.
I think he just let go of the clutch pedal.
But I know he didn't dump it. It was just barely rolling. But as soon as he felt it starting to roll, he knew he was going to get picked. There's Robert Dahlgren's car. So turn 6 is the answer to where did he park it up? Where was he going round that roundabout? Just here. There's your race leader, Thiago Monteiro. Was 8/10 ahead of Ivan Muller a lap ago. It's now down to 6/10. Norbert Michelis was 8/10 behind Muller. That's now down to 7/10. Rob Huff, the fastest race lap of all. He's now half a second behind.
That was a stunning lap as well, 4/10 quicker than the next fastest lap. That's an amazing lap that he just put in there. And the problem he's got now, though, he's got his teammate ahead of him, so where does he go? You know, it's so hard to pass, he can't risk taking vigilance off. It's going to be...
No, he's going to have to wait for Norby to make a mistake and allow Norby some room to challenge Lopez. And the problem for Huff that we saw in race 1 is in the turbulent air, behind Michelitz, behind the Citroën as well, he's going to have less efficient cooling of engine, of turbocharger intercooler, of brakes. So the brakes will get too hot, or hotter than they need to be. The drive will get hotter than it needs to be. And if the intercooler is not cooling properly, the engine won't produce quite the hard edge of power that it needs to produce either. So all of that turbulent airflow is bad news. Daniel Nagy has looped it around.
Turn 12, it's a... Yeah. Maybe outbraked himself and gone straight on there, perhaps. Because he'll have been out there on his own, I think.
Yeah, that'll be the second chicane. Maybe he's now feeling fatigue, because it is extremely hot. Only 18 years old, not an experienced racing driver like these guys. And Ivan Muller is not letting Thiago get away at all, is he? He's just kind of ignoring the fact that Norby is inches off his back bumper.
It's like Coronel said before the first race, it's so tight around here, you don't really need to look in your mirrors. There might be like one, maybe two places where you have to have a quick glance, but other than that, you can be significantly slower than the car behind. And we saw in one of the WTCC races earlier on, that was exactly the same thing. The guy in the front of the pack was significantly slow, managed to back everybody up, and eventually ended up getting himself biffed off.
Yeah. Yellow flags out here as Ted Björk and the rest of the field arrive. Nicky Katzberg now back under the gun from Mehdi Benani. Benani really working hard to try and get the place back from the Lada driver. And where are we? That's the battle for 7th. Tom Coronel has completed his drive through. So even should Benani get back in front, he won't take sole charge of 2nd place in the championship. And again, the Lada Vugo Valente feeling pain from Tom Chilton. Wonder what Monteiro's thoughts are at the moment.
Hi Tom, engine cut.
Uh-oh.
Engine cut.
Now, we don't need this for the 2nd week in a row from a leader in a Japanese car. Anybody who watched the 24 Hours of Le Mans last weekend will know exactly what happened to Toyota. A lap from the end of the race, their car cut totally. The engine died totally and utterly. One of the cruelest finishes of a motor race I've seen in a very long while. And if his engine just cut completely, if it's done it once, Harry, we all know electrics.
Yeah.
It's going to do it again.
It could be something temperature related, maybe, you know, electrics or fuel, perhaps, you know, fuel vaporization or something like that. Let's just hope it was a one-off and a little blip and not something which is going to cost him its race win. Absolutely right. And the problem is he's got Ivan Muller so close, and Muller, Michelis, Huff, Lopez, they're all right there. Thoughtful face of Duncan Laycock halfway down the team perch there. Long gap back to Ted Björk in 6th position from Lopez in 5th. That's 6 seconds. So Ted is sort of dictating the pace of the queue behind him. Katzberg, Benani, Valente, Chilton, and on the back of it, James Thompson. Meanwhile, the top 5 have pulled away. So you got 1 to 5 in this train, and then you got 6 to 11 in the next queue. And of that group, actually, James Thompson, although he's a little further back down the order, he is actually the fastest. And look at them all fanning out across the road there. Muller went completely to the opposite side of the carriageway on the straight.
to Montero just to get that breath of fresh air through the cooling systems in his car.
You can hear the crowd all cheering as they came into that chicane there.
Absolutely right. They will be going home very, very happy. It's huge uproar through the town last night. We were sitting out in the cool of the evening, and they were deep into extra time in Portugal's match with Croatia, and then suddenly the car horns, the air horns started echoing around the valley here, and you knew that Portugal had scored. Well, there is Pechito's fiancé, watching Jose Maria Lopez in 5th position. Not in a position to put enough pressure on Rob Huff to force an error, though, is he? He's going to have to bide his time.
Yeah.
Neither of these factory Citroën drivers have got enough to get alongside or get by a Honda. The Honda does look like fractionally the faster car here, but we're talking about fractions of a second on a 4.8 kilometre circuit.
Yeah, all weekend from FP0 all the way through to these races, they've all been pretty much on identical pace. So, you know, it really was about qualifying, not making a mistake.
Lopez made a mistake in qualifying, a rare error. In fact, so rare that Ivan Muller actually made note of it, made comment on the fact that you just don't see Jose Maria making mistakes. He said, today we did. And Lopez said, yeah, I know, sometimes you don't get it right. And when he's driving the car in extremis, as he is here, just occasionally an error is going to creep in, even with the greatest. Well, 10 spaces at Lada as well. Nicky Katzberg in 7th, Ugo Valente in 9th, Gabriele Tarquini in 13th, which is pretty much where he's been all weekend. Tarquini's car has been the one that hasn't worked here, same way that Valente's didn't quite work the same way as Tarquini and Katzberg's did all weekend in Russia.
Yeah, he's just not managed to quite get it together, has he? And it only takes a couple of little things to put you off your stride and can ruin your entire weekend.
If there is some underlying issue with the car, maybe one of the suspension mounting points has moved or something, you know, everything looks like it's trued up, but it isn't. Norby pulls out of the slipstream to try and get some fresh air through his cooling as well. So again, like in race 1, Norby in traffic, and we're seeing him looking to try and cool everything down. Still, Thiago Montero leads. The red Citroën of Ivan Muller in 2nd place. It's going to be another big result for Honda, 1, 3, 4. But Citroën 2nd and 5th never far away.
Into 26 and 27 there, that tight bit just before the start-finish straight, that's where the Honda looks mega. That's where we saw Rob Huff accidentally touch the back of the Volvo in the previous race. But yeah, they look so good under braking, and that tiny little rotation, they're able to turn in from a tight line, and everyone else seems to have to come in from quite a lot deeper.
World Touring Car Championship racing on the streets of Villarreal in Portugal. Looking back from Nicky Katzberg, 2nd in the championship, 7th in the race, 3rd in race 1 for the Dutchman. And he was looking back at Mehdi Bernardi, his closest championship rival, who he put behind him right off the start. Thiago Montero leads the race here from the red car of Ivan Muller. Then Norbert Mikulits, Rob Huff and Jose Maria Lopez. That's your first race. In the peloton further back, this is the breakaway group. In the peloton further back, it's Ted Björk's Volvo, the blue car, which lies in 6th, and all the way down to James Thompson in 11th. They're in one long queue of cars. In fact, Ted Björk pulling away a little bit from that, but all the noise greets the leader every lap. That is Thiago Montero, the Portuguese hero here. Ted Björk ahead of Katzberg and Bernani. Well, Katzberg, the only factory driver on the podium in race 1. Thiago Montero has not been on the radio to repeat another radio cut message. We heard that from him a couple of laps ago, another radio cut, another engine cut message. Rob Huff right up behind Norbert Mikulits there. As Norby moved offline, it just prejudiced his run into the roundabout there, and Rob came on the racing line, scything right up behind him.
Montero just set his fastest lap of the race as well. Again, we're seeing this coming quite late in the race for what we'd expect. It shows that hopefully that engine cut problem that we heard on the radio has gone.
Yeah, let's hope so. Don't want him getting back on the radio reporting any more trouble. The fans will be very, very unhappy were Thiago not to finish this race on the top step of the podium. Bernani dropping back a little from Katzberg in that red, white and green Citroën C-Elysée. Factory Citroën team will move on to pastures fresh at the end of this season, but we understand that Sebastian Loeb Racing is very keen to run at least as many cars as they are this season. And again, even a privateer team like Sebastian Loeb Racing with the best current chassis may well find an awful lot of interested takers. Thiago Monteiro coming up to catch Tom Coronel, who's done his drive-through. Daniel Nagy, is he still going? No, he's not. He has retired from the race, as has Robert Dahlgren. It's going to be tough for Coronel, because he's going to have to try and find somewhere when they do come close up behind him to get out of the way. He will absolutely not want to affect anybody else's race. On the other hand, he doesn't particularly want to go a lap down, but when you're in 16th on the lead lap or not on the lead lap, sort of isn't going to matter much to our race 1 winner.
Lopez seems to be catching the back of Huffy as well now. He was 0.3 of a second quicker on that previous lap.
Now they've all gone by Coronel. Tom chose his position well, allowed them all to run past him on the inside there. So now he tags on behind the lead group. Not sure if he's going to have the pace now. He will have saved his very best set of tyres for race 1 when he started on pole, and will maybe not have fresher tyres for race 2. Conversely, Thiago will have saved a brand new set of tyres for the race 2 start, won't he? Because that's the one that was going to most likely yield him a big result.
Yeah, Thiago's thrown the entire rule book of this one, hasn't he? Yeah. Saved out the best till last.
1:59.18 for Thiago, his fastest race lap, and he's still lapping as quick as anybody else in the queue behind him. In fact, the quickest of the queue last time round was Jose Maria Lopez, 0.4 quicker than Thiago and the other guys in front. Tebjörk, Nicky Katzberg, Mehdi Bernani easing away now from the Volante-Chilton battle.
Montero again pulling away from Muller. 4 laps to go. I'm not even going to say it.
No, absolutely no need to do chicken counting. Tebjörk in the Volvo on his own in 6th position is pulling away a little from Katzberg and Bernani, and the blue Sign Racing Polestar Volvo has just set its personal best first sector of the race, and only 1 car went quicker in the entire field, and that was the race leader Thiago Monteiro, because he is now starting to creep away from Ivan Muller. Gaps out now, as they are on this lap, to over a second. It was 0.96 at the line, and Thiago went 0.2 quicker than Ivan on the first sector. Ivan's just pulled a 10th back. There is Lopez, 5th position. Again, not able to stay with Rob Huff, or not willing or not needing to stay with Rob Huff. No one in Lopez rear-view mirrors. Ooh, what happened here? What were we seeing? Oh, Pachito. Now that's how much he's having to wrestle the car to get it to turn, Harry.
We've seen that on that sausage pretty much all weekend, haven't we? Just the slightest strike in the wrong place and it really chucks the back end round, and it does risk putting you in the wall on the opposite side. But that's exactly what Pachito doesn't need, does he? You know, he's safer, he's comfortable, he doesn't need to take any risks.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's when when the rider is up in the saddle, because he gets a little warning from the rear tyre. If you don't listen, you're a fool to yourself and only to yourself. John Philippi and Ferenc Fittcher back at it again. These two spent all of race 1 in very close company, battling for position, and they are again. Fittcher just ahead, Philippi just ahead of Fittcher. Gabriele Tarquini ahead of them by 6 seconds. Thiago Monteiro, I wonder if he's even seeing or hearing anything other than the racetrack right now. He is just trying to keep that momentum, that metronome precision going, smooth, just rolling from corner to corner, allowing the car to do all the work, not overthinking it, just driving pure and simple.
He'll be in full tunnel vision mode, just allowing his natural reaction to do the work, and if you overthink it, that's when things start going wrong. You start trying to deliberately back things up, and that's when you start causing yourself problems. So he'll just be cracking on as he has been all race.
John Philippi, Ferenc Fittcher battling for 14th place. And they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th and 6th in the independence points at the moment. Oh, and Tom Coronel, oh yeah, no. Tom Coronel is pulling over to allow the queue behind to get by him. So I don't think he's got an issue. I think he was just pulling over on the long fast straight. Race leader Thiago Monteiro heading down towards the end of lap 11 of 14 here in Portugal. He's led from the start. Harry Folkard, every single braking episode, every single barrier on every single corner is a potential drama, isn't it?
Yeah, around here we know it takes no prisoners, does it? So he will be massively aware of that. He knows he's just got to stick where he is, make no mistakes. That's allows, we saw Coronel say it as well. When you're in the lead, you're on a street circuit, you just need to get out in front, get your head down, which is exactly what he did for the first few laps. He's managed to maintain that gap. He's not having to push any harder than he really needs to, and he just sit there, just don't make any mistakes, and then the bacon should be coming home.
Frantic pace. This is a roller coaster of a race circuit, lined by unforgiving concrete walls and metal barriers. And between this, down this metal channel, the drivers are climbing and diving, constantly turning, blind brows, sweeping S-bends, and all of it overlaid with this huge high-speed element that is so unusual in your average street circuit.
Where's Lopez gone? What's happened to Lopez?
Lopez has dropped right off the back. He came across the line in 5th.
I wonder if he's caused some damage when
there he is.
He's miles back.
He is a long way back. Maybe he's got an overheating issue and is just going to nurse this to the finish. He was 8 seconds ahead of Ted Björk. And there are 4 laps to go. Now, we've seen cars take much more than 8 seconds in 2 laps here. Never mind 4 laps. Lopez might be in trouble. John Philippi, Franz Fischer still dicing with each other.
You know, it's really easy to come down off one of those curbs on an awkward angle and bend something, or, you know, maybe take the camber off the car or bend the tracking or something. We do know that the Citroens are built like tanks, so they tend not to have issues like that too often, but, you know, it could be easy, and, you know, yeah, maybe he's just taking it easy, and there's nothing to gain, loads to lose.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, actually, on the last point, because he was never looking like getting close enough to Huff to make a move, was he? And so all he's going to risk is overheating the car and doing some damage, or running out of brakes or road and into a wall and doing more damage. Yes. When you can't win, you've got to take the points you can get.
Definitely, I fully agree with that, but I think you could say for sitting a little bit closer, because if someone makes their own mistake, and you can capitalise on it, where if you're too far back, you allow them to make the mistake and then get away with it.
However, if they make the mistake and he's right behind them, he's going to go into their accident. Now, if he's 4 or 5 seconds back, if you make a mistake here, you're going to be dragging a sorry mess back to the pit lane at no speed whatsoever. You will be an easy pass. So maybe he's just being a little bit cautious. Maybe he's getting warning signs from the car. Don't forget, we heard the engineers telling him to turn down to maximum economy map towards the end of the race at the Nürburgring. Maybe there is another issue that's being flicked up on their telemetry that they're not entirely keen on, and let's take no chances. He's still not been caught by Ted Björk. The gap's come down from 8 to 4.5 seconds. Be interesting to see whether Björk gets close enough to make Lopez speed back up again.
There's not a lot can separate Michelitz and Huffy. I think you'd probably get it. You'd struggle to get a tab packet between those two at times, wouldn't you?
You would, wouldn't you? And Huffy would love to be on the podium. Norby would love not to let him. They can't do much about Ivan. Ivan is going to finish second unless he bins it. And now it's about which of the Hondas, and again Huff from behind is looking very aggressive, as he was with Ted Björk in the first race. It's his teammate, the car is identical, has the same strengths and weaknesses, but Huff has got more pace late in the race, just like he did in race 1. Here he comes, looking down the inside. That's the move he made on Björk, or the end of the move he made on Björk. That's where he started to try and set them up a few laps before he finally got the pass.
That's where the Honda looks mega, just into that turn there. You can see they seem to be able to turn in sharp, fairly tight line, and they come off the corner amazingly well.
Now, of course, what this does It takes a little bit of pressure off Yvan Muller. He can relax a bit more in second place. Might even think in the final lap about closing up and seeing if there's pressure to be put on Thiago Monteiro. Rob Huff in fourth, Nova Michelisz in third. The single worst outcome here would be for that not to be the case at the end. But for Lopez to be in third.
I wonder if that was a bit of a subliminal message from Huffy, if he's been told to hold station, and then he's just done that last couple of laps just to prove that he has the pace, and now he's backing back down again.
Well, I think he had the pace, and I think maybe he sensed that Norby didn't have enough to reply, but it does look as though Michelisz will hang on to third place on this final lap. Yvan Muller in second place is close enough to be a permanent worry to Thiago Monteiro. Nothing is yet done. As a sports car racer himself, and as a Le Mans fan, Thiago will know exactly what last week taught us and will be doing nothing different on this lap to any other lap that he's done in this race so far. Well, the fans are cheering him on the way the next time round. They hope to see him with a Portuguese flag out of the window, with victory. And down through one of the last challenges he comes, rides the curbs, and continues on back down the hill. Around the roundabout he will go. And the clock is against Yvan Muller, and very much for Thiago Monteiro. He won in Estoril, he won in Portimao, and now he claims his third Portuguese World Touring Car Championship victory on the streets of Villarreal. Victory for Thiago Monteiro. There's a very happy family.
Bravo, Thiago, bravo. Thank you. Good job, good job. Second again in the overall, second again in the overall now.
Wow. And that is how tight everything is. He moves to second.
It's for your mother. It's for my mother, guys.
Fireworks are going off around us already. Thiago moves up ahead of Nicky Katzberg and Mehdi Benani to second in the championship. But that is all for another day. Now it is winning in front of a home crowd.
Yeah, great drive and well deserved. Just got his head down, kept his nose clean, and yeah, fantastic to see him win at his home race. It's every racing driver's dream, isn't it, to win your home race in a world championship.
And look at that, they are, you know, they are 5 or 6 deep around every bit of wire fencing they can find here. Not only have they brought smoke canisters, somebody's brought thunder flashes to the racetrack as well. I can hear lots of explosions going off and fireworks in the air above us. There is Europe's fastest man with Thiago's family. Well, that'll be a huge relief, a huge satisfaction for him as well. Boy, there's a man who'll be feeling no pain for the next couple of days, although maybe from sore throat from interviews, because he's going to do a lot of talking.
Yeah, and probably a bit of a headache from tomorrow morning, I would imagine, as well.
Well, they'll be heading back down home to Porto, only an hour away from his hometown. It was never particularly kind to him, the racetrack at Porto. And of course, when we were racing there, Chevrolet was still in their factory prime. What about Rob Huff? How does he greet this?
Well done to Thiago. Very, very well done to Thiago. Brilliant. Brilliant for the team. Well done, boys. Great result.
Well, we've had 2 winners on the streets here who have claimed a second win each this season. That's Thiago's second victory after winning the opener in Slovakia. And Yvan Muller, runner-up spot for him. Sorry, guys. I have no more. Good start, Yvan, and a good end to a good weekend. And it was, you know, again, same deal here. Maximise what you've got. If you can win, win. If you can't win, get a hatful of points.
Yeah, and yeah, Yvan did a good job again, you know, just as you'd expect. But, you know, it's no easy task holding off Michelisz and Huff and those the very fast Hondas. We know they've worked really well around here all weekend, and good showing from Muller.
Good show too from Nicky Katzberg, third in race 1. He's 7th here, ahead of Mehdi Benani. So they've been vaulted by Thiago Monteiro. It might be 1 or 2 points. Haven't done the arithmetic. He's already enjoying celebrating with the crowd. Now it's a shame the car's a front-wheel drive, otherwise you'd be doing donuts on all these roundabouts, wouldn't he?
Get rid of the tyres.
Yeah. Exactly what every single fan has come here to see, a home win. Lots of adulation from the fans and from the marshals here for Thiago Monteiro. And the marshals' long, hot weekend now completed with the World Touring Car Championship being the final race on track here on the streets of Villarreal. Daddy done good. Daddy did indeed.
Must be an amazing feeling, mustn't it, pulling into this Parc Fermé with all those people hanging off the balconies and all the fireworks.
And, you know, it's not that they don't like other drivers and admire the championship, but it is every single flag, every single